Today, we're diving into a teaching technique called prompting. Now, it sounds simple, but it can make a huge difference. I mean, it can be the deciding factor between someone mastering a new skill or just giving up. So, let's get into how it all works.
Here's what we're going to cover. First up, what exactly is a prompt? Then, we'll get into why they're so effective. After that, we'll open up the prompting toolkit to see all the different types you can use. And finally, and this is the most important part, we'll talk about the real goal here, moving from help to true independence.
We've all been there, right? You're teaching a kid to tie their shoes, or maybe helping a student with a tricky math problem, and you just hit that wall. That moment of frustration, it can stop the whole learning process dead in its tracks. But what if you had a way to guide them through it, to pretty much guarantee success from the get-go?
Well, that's exactly where prompting comes in. But before we get into the how, let's make sure we're all on the same page about what a prompt actually is.
So, at its core, a prompt is just a cue. It's a hint. It's not about blurting out the answer. It's about giving just enough of a clue to help the learner figure out the correct response on their own. Think of it as a little nudge in the right direction.
Okay, so why is this little nudge so important? What makes this technique such a game changer in a teaching setting?
This really gets to the heart of it. While they're known to be incredibly effective for individuals on the autism spectrum, really, the benefits are for everyone. When you guide a learner toward the right answer, you cut down on mistakes, which means you cut down on frustration. And that creates this awesome positive feedback loop. Success builds confidence, which leads to more success. It's powerful stuff.
Now here's the cool part. Prompting isn't a one-size-fits-all kind of deal. There's actually a whole toolkit of different prompts you can pull from depending on what you're teaching and who you're teaching.
So, let's crack open that toolkit and take a look at the 5 heavy hitters, the main types of prompts we can use to guide someone. We'll start with the most obvious and work our way to the most hands-on.
First up is the verbal prompt. This is probably the one that comes to mind first, right? Just using your words as a cue. As you can see here, it could be a whole phrase, like modeling "I want car," or it could be way more subtle, like just giving the first sound, "ka," to get the ball rolling.
Next, we've got the gestural prompt. This is all about nonverbal clues. In this picture, it's a simple point, super effective. But it could also be a nod, a thumbs up, or even just looking at the correct object. It's a quiet little hint that can make all the difference.
Then there's the model prompt. This is your classic watch me first approach. You, the teacher, demonstrate the action perfectly. You clap your hands, you wash your hands, whatever it is, and the learner's job is simply to copy what you just did.
A visual prompt is exactly what it sounds like, using an image or some text or maybe an object to give a clue. So let's say you're teaching the letter A. You might hold up a flashcard with the letter on it while asking, "What sound does this make?" The card itself is the prompt.
And finally, we have the physical prompt. This one provides the most support. It involves actually gently guiding the learner's body to complete the task, like the hand-over-hand help you see here for learning to write.
Okay, so we've got our toolkit. We know the different types of prompts, but just knowing what they are isn't the whole story. The real art, the real magic, is in how you use them to get to that ultimate goal, independence.
I love this analogy. The best way to think about prompts is like scaffolding on a building. You put it up to support the structure while it's being built, but the plan is always to take it down once the building is strong enough to stand all by itself. Prompts are exactly the same.
This is often organized into what's called a hierarchy, going from most supportive to least. You can think of it like a ladder. You might start at the top with full physical help, then slowly climb down, moving to just a model, then a gesture, then a word, until finally you're at the bottom, and the learner can do it all on their own, independent.
And this brings up a huge strategic question. When you start teaching, where on that ladder do you begin? Do you jump in with the most help you can give to make sure they succeed? Or do you hang back, start with the least amount of help and see what they can do first?
Well, there are 2 main game plans here, most to least and least to most. With most to least, you start with whatever prompt is needed to guarantee a correct answer, and then you slowly fade it away. With least to most, you do the opposite. You give the learner a chance to try it on their own first, and you only step in with more help if they get stuck.
So when do you use which one? Most to least is your go-to when you're teaching a skill that is brand new, something the learner has never done before. By giving lots of support up front, you prevent them from practicing mistakes, and you build their confidence right away with that feeling of success.
On the flip side, you'd use least to most when you have a hunch the learner already has some of the skills. This gives them a chance to show you what they know and encourages them to try and solve the problem themselves before you jump in. It's fantastic for building on skills that are already there.
But no matter which strategy you choose or which prompt you use from the toolkit, the destination is always the same. It all comes down to this idea. It's about giving guidance only until the learner can do it all by themselves without our help. And that right there is the most important thing to remember. A prompt isn't a crutch, it's a bridge. It's a temporary support structure that's designed to be taken away, leaving behind someone who is confident and independent. In the end, the most successful prompt is the one you don't have to give anymore.